Welcome to Beyond the Stockroom, where we will be exploring the vast career opportunities that exist beyond the stockroom. What happens when a product is out of stock? That's where we come in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Stockroom. We are so excited to be at the GSMA conference and sitting down with the president of GSMA, first two-time president of GSMA, Richard Freeman. And I will let Richard take it away and introduce a little bit more about himself and what his role at his company is.
So. All right. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Richard Freeman. I am the National Sales Director for DM Merchandising, as well as President of the Gift Sales Managers Association. I've been in this industry for 36 years. I'm currently the two-time president of GSMA, and my term expires at the end of September, and I'll hand the reins off to the next leader of this group.
Really great.
Yeah.
At DM Merchandising, what's your role there?
So as National Sales Director, I am responsible for all of our outside sales reps. I manage about 240 reps across the country. It includes gift teams with gift rep groups. It includes specialty channel reps. We have showrooms in Atlanta, Dallas, Las Vegas, Chicago, Minneapolis. So basically, I'm responsible for keeping all those people focused and selling my brand.
Nice.
Awesome. Now, for the listeners, your brand is pretty well known in our industry, but your brand encompasses so much like product. What are some brands within your brand that like consumers would recognize?
So, right, we are buying from 20 different vendors. Some of our well-known brands would be Hello Mellow, which is our loungewear line. Lemon Lavender is our spa line. Kedzie is our bag and strap line. We have Crush, which is a women's impulse line. We have Brodeo Drive, which is a men's gift line. Seed and Sprout is our garden line. Fit Kicks is our active lifestyle line. Yeah, and the list goes on. Two Left Feet. I mean, there's, I think, 22 different brands that we encompass.
Wow. Yeah, which is partially probably why you've been named Manufacturer of the Year twice or three times.
Three times,
Three out
yes.
of the last 5 years. Yeah.
3 out of the last
Amazing.
5 years. We're pretty proud of that. Obviously, that is more a testament to our customers and our reps than it is to us. We try and do the best job we can. We try and produce the best product that we can. But literally, it's the trust and confidence that our retailers have in us, and the trust and confidence that our reps have in us that make them go out on a daily basis and sell the line.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome. So you're National Sales Director. So let me just try to summarize that as best I can. You basically oversee all of the sales, I think just United States, right? If I'm not incorrect.
Correct.
Okay. And you more so you do sales through rep groups primarily throughout the country. So your job is more so to manage the sales within each rep group and understanding how you can help if sales are down, what you can do to boost sales, whether you need. I know you are a big proprietor of ride-alongs. I know you love doing those, which I think is also really good. So let's go back in time. You've been in this for 36 years?
Correct.
Okay.
Nice.
So I know you didn't come in as National Sales Director.
No.
So first of all, what were you doing when you found your way into this industry, and how was that journey?
Back in 1990, long time ago, I invented a toy called the spinner toy, and it was just a silly little toy, and I was making it. I was actually in another industry, and we were making them and selling them like at street fairs and such. And some guy came up to a booth at a street fair in Ocean Beach, California, down San Diego, and bought 10 of them. And a week later, he called me and said he wanted 10,000 of them. And I mean, we were making these by hand and, 100 at a time type thing. And suddenly I was in business, and they happened to be a toy distributor based out of Los Angeles. And so I had to figure out how to be able to mass produce the toy. I did that. I ended up hiring that guy to be my national sales manager. And he put us into rep groups. He's the one who kind of introduced me to rep groups back in 1990. And the first rep group we ever hired was Dara in Atlanta on the 18th floor. And at that time, I had this one item. The price ranged from $1.85 at minimum quantity down to $1.55 at large quantity, and large was like 150 pieces. And at our very first gift show, we wrote $250,000 on this one product. And of course, 1990 was in the heyday years of the gift industry, when people spent recklessly, and I so miss those days.
Yes.
But it turned me into this industry, and I found a home. Like, it was someplace I always wanted to be. And back then, there were toy reps, but toy reps only called on specialty toy stores, and gift reps called on everyone. So I hired gift reps. Okay. And so that's how I really got into the gift industry, per se. And then I realized quickly that a lot of people, while they bought that toy the first time, they didn't want to just buy from a single item vendor. So we built a line around it. And we suddenly had a toy company, and we were importing toys from China. And
wow.
Yeah.
What drove you to invent this toy? What were you doing prior to that?
Probably involved alcohol. I don't know. I don't remember. It was basically based off of an old-fashioned toy. And I just thought I could do it differently and better, and we did. And my dad was alive at that time, and he'd go, "Why don't you try this?" or "Why don't you do that?" And we got a patent on the toy, which was really cool.
Wow. Nice.
But the thing that was really cool also became the thing that was the downside of the industry for me is I got knocked off out of China. I spent 1.5 years in court and about $150,000 of my personal savings defending my patent. And even though I won, I never saw the money, because it's not like you can go to China and go, "Hey, excuse me, you owe me money." So I wasn't having fun anymore. I woke up one morning, I was just like, this is a grind. I didn't do this to be a grind. Yeah. And I sold the company. And then the people I sold it to ended up hiring me back in to be the chief operating officer, because they didn't know what to do or how to run it or understand our industry. Sure. I had quickly come to grasp the industry and how you maneuver within it. And so I did that for a while.
What was how did you explain that to them? What was your take on the grasp of the industry?
Well,
to say it.
Our industry is a relationship-based industry. Yeah. Okay, has been as long as I've been around, and probably long before I even showed up on the scene. And at our core, it's about the people you meet, the relationships you build, the friends you make. And so if you haven't had that relationship, you aren't going to succeed very quickly. You're gonna have to go down that runway before you start to see success. I was lucky. I wouldn't say that what I did was a fad. I mean, we've had fads like Pogs, and pet rocks were a fad. Spinner, fidgets that time. Yeah. There've been fads that have come and gone. I just happened to hit on something that was the epitome of impulsive. Okay. But it's only an impulse buy once. Yeah. Right? So I had to build that company around it.
Not a consumable impulse that allows those dollars to keep flowing in.
Right, right.
So was it the fact that you sold that company and then you were brought back on more so for those relationships that you had already built prior, and they didn't understand those?
Yeah, I pretty much did everything. I mean, I managed inventory. I mean, it was like it was still my company. I just didn't have the payroll headaches and all the things that go with it. I mean, my journey in the gift and toy industry has been cyclical. I've owned companies, I've worked for others, I've owned companies, I've worked for others. Right now, at 16 years with DM, it's the longest I've ever worked for another person in my entire life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a testament to DM and their culture.
So what brought you, so you were COO at the company that rehired you due to them not understanding it, we'll put it that way. So you did that. How long did you do that? And what ultimately, how did you wind up at DM? And then in what role did you initially come in at?
From the toy company, I did some repping after that. It was just a case of, for the same reasons I sold the company, it's the same reasons it drove me out. I wasn't having fun working for somebody else. So I did some repping for a period of time. And then I was hired by a jewelry company, again, to be their COO, but it was a small company, so I wore a lot of hats, including sales management. And From there, I was for a short time. I owned another little company, a consulting company, in the gift industry. And then from there, I got recruited again by a company called Fascinations Toys and Gifts that did scientific related toys and
that's cool.
and gift items. They were really, back when I was with them, they were famous for the gel ant farms, which were really cool. I mean, we had a great market going. And there I was vice president of domestic sales. And then I went back and did some more consulting. And then I got a call from DM, and they said, we want to talk to you about a job. And they flew me out. And a good friend of mine was the VP of sales there. And he said, and I was living in San Diego at the time. And I said, I have one question. And he goes, yes, you have to move, but don't let that make your decision. And they flew me out, and I met with David Marks, who was the owner of DM at the time. And David was part greatest salesman ever and part P.T. Barnum. He was a showman. I mean, he was great. But he showed me around and gave me the tour of the office, showed me where my office was, assuming the close. And then we went back to his office. He closed the door. He goes, here's your offer, and it's non-negotiable. And I'm like, I thought I was just talking to you about a job. And he's like, no, I've talked to lots of people in this industry, and they told me if I have the opportunity to hire you, I need to hire you. So I'm hiring you. And I went, okay. And they made me a great offer. And the hardest part of it was calling my wife back in San Diego and saying, honey, I just got offered this job, and we have to move to Chicago. We had that discussion. There was dead silence on the other end of the phone. And finally, I'm like, hello. I thought the call dropped. And she said, I'll tell the kids. That was all she said.
Okay.
So fast forward, I took the job. We did move to Chicago. And it's been a great ride ever since. We kind of changed over the years. David retired. His son bought him out, Gavin Marks. He's now our owner and CEO. I have a counterpart who manages. He's the head of sales, and he takes care of all the inside salespeople. We're a larger company, so we have inside sales, outside sales. There are a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Sure.
And so we've got a great management team in place that has our lane that we're responsible for, and that's what we work within.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Other than your role now, since you've been with DM for 16 years, you clearly like this role. Where along the past, like, what was one of your favorite roles?
Going back to the beginning, I enjoyed when I first started my toy company. I went to China. I built a lot of friends that were also importers, and we kind of traveled together. It was fun to do it with my dad. He'd go to China with me sometimes, but it was fun visiting factories and picking products. And at the time, I didn't have the product development, so I was buying a lot of open market items and kind of doing what I could to make it mine specifically, maybe changing the packaging or that type of thing. But in the end, there were 5 or 6 other people selling the same thing I was. I just did it at the best price I could. I produced a better catalog than a lot of them, but I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed that selecting products, playing with products.
A curation of sorts.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think sales reps kind of get to sort of have that vibe, at least the playing with the product sort of vibe, and picking, almost curating for the retailers in a way?
Yes and no. I think that's a job that has evolved a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Again, in the heyday, it was easy to just walk in and say, "Oh, I've got this line," and like, "Oh yeah, but, let's buy." And there were a lot that were more order taker, which was at that time, acceptable. As it's changed, as the retail landscape has changed, it's become more order maker as opposed to order taker. And even now, it's more sales consultative.
Right.
100%. I think retailers these days are looking for somebody that is a consultative partner, is somebody that is going to be honest with them. They're going to be able to talk trends. They're going to be able to talk, be honest what
Yeah.
the dogs are versus what the great stuff is. Because the bottom line is today, retailers remember you for the dog you sold them and not the 30 items that blew off the shelf.
Yeah,
right.
it's true.
And even when I'm working directly with a customer, I'm not afraid to say, look, I'll sell you anything you want, but if you buy that item, that's what you're going to remember me for.
Yeah.
You're not going to remember me for the 20 items I sold you that you blew out of, made great margin on,
Right.
and you're thrilled with.
Yeah.
That's just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
But
sure.
that one item still sitting on the shelf, I'll hear about it first.
He'll come back to
100%,
haunt you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
crazy.
But yeah, so listeners, if you like talking about trends, you might want to be a sales rep. So
You're pretty much on
you
top
also
of the
have
trends.
relationship and people skills, as
Yep.
we've been talking about too. You might be a good sales rep. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sales skills are actually, these days, probably secondary. Again, building that relationship,
100%.
trust, confidence, being not only their friend, but able to have the tough conversation.
Mhm.
Stop sitting on that item. It's
Yeah.
not moving. Discount it, close it out. Let's put something else there that's going to be a home run. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Nice.
cut your losses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll appreciate the honesty. They will.
Yeah, they will. With how many reps that you manage, that's a lot of different personalities. So what type of personality do you think makes one of successful reps?
Back in the day, the sales rep job was being pushed out or catering to the stay-at-home mom who had children, stayed home, and now needs that perfect job from 10 to 2, 10 to 3 that they can do part-time because that's when their child now is in school.
Yeah.
It's not that way anymore. It's
It's a bit
beyond
more demanding, I think.
it's beyond a full-time job now.
I agree.
So really, the best rep is the one that really does treat it like a business
100%.
and not a job.
Yeah.
The one that understands a CRM, a customer relationship manager that puts together a system, maybe has an assistant that does the mundane task work, because every moment a rep takes to forward an invoice or take care of a customer service issue is a moment they're not selling. They're not being in front of a customer. And a rep's superpower is being in front of a customer.
Yeah.
It's where they shine.
It's where they shine. It's where that relationship is built.
Yep.
Relationships aren't built through email or phone. Those enhance the relationship, but that relationship's built right here.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that your emails and your phone will also tarnish your relationship as much as it doesn't build it. If you don't reply to it or you're not on top of it, your relationship will tank.
Well,
absolutely.
That's just to recap. I think for those reps that have that demand, I think to your point, Richard, that's where an assistant for those menial type tasks is critical, because you have to maintain your relationship, but you also need to be, in front of people.
Yeah.
So you can't lose relationships because you're not on top of your emails while you're just building new relationships.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
and I think a big
one.
thing too about the relationship building in person, especially in our landscape of sales, is we need to know the retailer's store to be an awesome rep too.
Absolutely.
And yes, you can get information from Google Photos online to kind of prep you for a preliminary meeting, but it's super important that you're walking those stores a lot so that you're more familiar with their product mix all the time, who their customer base is, things like that. Yeah. So,
funny, one of I was having a meeting yesterday, and one of our members, GSMA members, who is an owner, she's not a sales manager, she actually owns her company, but it's a smaller company that can't really have a full-time sales manager. And she visited one of her customers here, and she noticed she sells them candles, among other things. And she went to the candle display, and 3 of them, the labels were kind of torn off, like kids had messed with them. So she picked those 3 candles up, went to the register, and bought them herself, so that crappy looking product was not on the sales floor. She could have said, I'll take these back and exchange them.
Right.
She bought them. She paid the money and bought them to take them out of there.
Putting money right back into the economy, into your customers' pockets. Which, again, maintaining that relationship, those dollars will likely come back to you ultimately through the pipeline.
The owner and the buyer were not standing there. It's somebody working the counter that they don't know who that is.
Right.
And she just she said, I'm going to fix this problem in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that commitment. I really do. That's
really
crazy.
cool.
It's like another form of like investing in your business.
Absolutely.
Right? At the end of the day, you are.
And investing in your customer.
Yes. The success of your customer, the success of your product in their store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So reps with assistants, how do you think, being kind of the manager of all of them, how many right now do have assistants?
I've got probably 3 or 4 that have a dedicated assistant, which I think is really great. One of them happens to be the largest writer in the country for DM.
Wow. Yeah.
Doing 7-figure business because they have that. But I also I have several reps that have kind of created a gig economy because they'll take an assistant and 3 people can share it.
Yeah.
Because the reality is those tasks take maybe 10, 12 hours a week.
Right.
But if you have to do it yourself, you've just given up at least a day, maybe a day and a half to take care of those tasks. So now you've got somebody and you're only paying 10 hours worth of hourly salary to get those things done. And in the time, you could literally write one order that would pay for that 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
It pays for itself.
It pays for itself. It definitely does.
I think that's a good entry point too for people to come from out of the industry. Listeners, obviously, if you aren't in this industry already, maybe reach out to companies like DM and any of the others that we've been interviewing. See if their reps are looking for assistance or have the capability of bringing one on, and you can definitely join them. Help them with those things. So.
Similar to it's a lighter entry than temping, like we've talked about in the past. Temping is it's a commitment for at least a week, right? It can be exhausting, long days. Assisting for a sales rep is still a good way to kind of get a sense of what it is. Not so much in person, not the in-person interaction, but at least you can see kind of like the process and the things that the retailers or the buyers may ask or need help with. And, it may involve you contacting somebody like DM's customer service team and saying, hey, this retailer is wondering about this product or whatever it is, right? So you already start to kind of build those relationships just that way.
And maybe you're doing customer service right now at like a really big company, and maybe you don't want to support those large corporations right now. So come join the small business world over here. We really need you.
It's funny. The gift industry's been around as long as there have been birthdays. I mean, honestly, right?
Yeah.
But when you tell somebody, they ask you, what do you do? And you say, I'm in the gift industry. They're like, the what? And you literally have to explain, like, have you ever been in a Hallmark store? Well, yeah. Okay, that's the gift industry, know? And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm in,
So I gotta relate because I have an interesting thought on that. And Richard, if you don't know the show, hopefully at least know the name. So my wife and I, we don't watch a ton of reality TV, but our shtick as of late has been Below Deck. And I don't know if you're yeah, perfect.
My wife watches it.
Okay, perfect. So like I never was, I wasn't born in a coastal type city. Miami, I feel is like the hot spot, at least in the United States, right? But it feels like those that are in Miami or around it know of this yachting like industry, right? But I certainly didn't know that was a whole thing until I started watching the show. But it's interesting because I watched the show, you see how the people are. A lot of them know each other from other boats or they know captains. Like it's a very small industry, but very big.
Yes.
And I relate it very similarly to us. Obviously completely different what we do, right? But very similar in that aspect of it. But I wonder how much people know about yachting now and how many people are trying to get into it due to that being brought to like the forefront, basically.
Well, I think what I hear you saying is you want to start a reality TV show in the gift industry.
I don't know if I want to go that far with it.
We have thought about it.
There's certainly enough. There's enough reality for it, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are so many different levels of the gift industry. When I met my wife, she was the main floor women's accessories buyer for Nordstrom. She had the largest buying budget in the entire company. She was out of Los Angeles. And her functionality as a buyer and the functionality of a buyer at, say, a Hallmark store are like two completely different industries, yet they're the same.
I know.
It's
very
wild.
Odd how it ranges that way.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, a buyer for Walmart and a buyer for Hallmark, a Hallmark store are going to be so vastly different.
Yeah.
The numbers, It's
product
just crazy.
categories you're looking at, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, much more scale with like
Yeah.
a Walmart buyer versus a Hallmark store buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the topic, I guess, big box versus more smaller business, Hallmark's a big name, but they are like locally owned.
Correct.
With the ever changing landscape that is our world and the external factors that we don't have control over, where do you see this industry heading in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, here's the thing. The gift industry will be around as long as there are birthdays to be had and Christmases that show up every single year, whether you want it or not.
Yep.
So it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
The way it looks might be different.
Yeah.
I think what's really affecting our landscape, and I've talked about this with many people, the unfortunate part for younger people that would even consider getting in this industry is what I call the puppy mill. You know, you have the big box stores. People go to school. Sometimes they go to school to learn fashion merchandising or, you know, that type of thing. And then they land a buying job with I'll just use Macy's as an example. And what happens is they'll hire young people in their 20s, and these people think they've landed their dream job.
Yeah.
And then the way they're run through the system, like they just don't, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like kids trying to get into the NBA, right? There's only X number of kids on the team, and there's, you know, thousands of universities with basketball teams, and they all have a dream. The same thing kind of applies. There's only X number of buying jobs at a big department store or big box store, and there's lots of people going through a program to get that experience. So they run them through the puppy mill, and then they get burned out, and they find a job that's not as stressful, that they like better, and they leave our industry and they go, oh, that industry sucks. And the reality is the industry doesn't suck.
Yeah, 100%.
It'd be so much better if people landed a buying job with a small independent retailer or a smaller 5, 6, 7 store chain. So they get that really grassroots level and understand it from that position, and they would really come to love it.
And I think, their buying experience would be like even more, they just probably would have more autonomy over what they can buy, and they don't have a lot of the stipulations that corporate big box stores can put in place. And that's why I think in our first episode we were talking about, you know, big box retail.
Yeah, I think
gives you the vibe that it's a dead end job. But retail is not a dead end job.
It's not a dead end job.
No, it's not.
People always associate retail with big box.
Yeah,
just because that's what you
think of. The independent ones like really, really, really need new, fresh ideas, help. So
we're actually in a very unique world where a lot of the independent, like the mom and pop type retailers, like we're also in a world where you can get almost anything you want at the tip of your fingers, right? And
absolutely,
it's about like, you may not be like, if you're listening, you may not be like, well, I don't really want to buy. I'm not really like good at curating products or anything, but maybe you have just like really good ideas on how to like promote things or draw attention. And like a lot of retail stores today that I think are doing it right and succeeding really well are those that make it an experience to come into the store. Yeah. It's not just you walk in, somebody's behind the counter. Hey, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
So we have at DM, we have we have 4 main buyers, a couple of assistant buyers. So we've got a product development team of 6. We've got a copyright team of 2. We've got an art team of like 7. We have a social media content team of 4. I mean, there are so many other ways to get into our industry that doesn't involve buying or selling.
Right.
I mean, there's so much to be done. There's so many ways to love this industry.
Yeah.
And actually, let's touch on that, because during market, you know, as we've talked about it, Delaney, we've kind of given the idea that it's mostly sales managers, buyers, reps, like the rep group admins, technology people like myself. But in reality, there's other people and other parties that come. And actually, Richard, in Atlanta this year, I think, was it 2 people from your social media team that you brought?
We had 3.
3, okay.
Yeah.
So you brought 3 social media people to Atlanta with you, and they got to basically just shoot content, make fun stuff. And I think you guys were also doing like a, was it the Willy Wonka?
Well, it was a golden ticket promotion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
right. So what was cool about it, we did a few things. We did the golden ticket promotion. We actually had a bar. We were doing mimosas in the morning and Bloody Marys and wine and beer in the afternoon. And so a couple of our social media people. They're in their 20s. I call them the kids. The kids are the greatest. So they worked as bartenders, but throughout the day they were shooting live content and they were posting it immediately. I mean, we were getting so much buzz from what they were doing. They were exceptional. So this time they're actually going to be at least one of them at every show.
Wow.
Oh, excellent.
Because yeah, they're phenomenal. Their energy's great. I love them to death. They've made me do some of the stupidest things on camera.
You have fun. You have fun.
I have fun. There's no doubt about it. You know, if you're not following DM Merchandising on Instagram and all that, you should, because so much of their content is great. Some of it, I got to admit, I'm an older guy. I don't understand some of it. I'm like, okay, what the heck was that supposed to be? But for the most part, it's fun stuff. They're a blast. I love hanging out with them.
So
Awesome.
with the social media topic, do you see that driving things in the future, 5 to 10 years?
I do. I think people love to interact with companies that are fun.
Yeah.
That don't take themselves too seriously. That's a big part of
Especially in this industry. How can we
Especially in
take
this
ourselves so seriously?
I'll sell stuff that
No.
nobody truly needs. So how can you take?
Well,
yourself
that's why I sold my toy company. If you can't be in toys and be having fun, then you shouldn't be in toys.
right.
So I sold the company. Yeah, I mean, again, 36 years.
Yeah.
If you had said to me at 25, 6 or 7, hey, you're going to enter an industry and you're going to spend the next almost 40 years there, I went, you've lost your frickin' mind. And yet here I am. I love this industry. It's crazy how much I love this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a passion thing, I think.
It is.
It's kind of addictive.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So kind of going to like the challenge we're having, again, going back to nobody knows the gift industry and this and that. So you started 1990, you had your toy company. I don't know if that's far enough back. I know I've always heard the 80s were good. I'm assuming the 90s were good. I was a kid, so I can't say for sure. But do you think, like, you know, this potential crisis we're facing where, you know, the rep landscape, I think even sales managers to some degree are getting older. And they're not like retiring the next 2 years, but maybe the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
Do you think that this, like, we weren't promoting this industry in the 90s either? It just wasn't as much of a problem because it was still kind of fresh, and those sales managers, those retail or sales reps, etc., like, they were just younger because they were earlier in their career. And we just have carried on like that and have never kind of reflected and said, hey, we need to, you know, start promoting this more.
Yeah. It's yes, to your point, we definitely need to promote it more. One of my biggest concerns for this industry is the rep segment of the industry, because it is an aging economy. And we definitely need to find a way to hire younger. But I think one of the big problems that we have is that we need to figure it out. We need to do it better.
Yeah.
Too many rep groups out there hire people, no matter what the age.
Right.
They give them some training. They give them 30 lines or whatever that line package looks like, and then they push them out the door and send them on their way. And you've got somebody drinking out of a fire hose. And that's hard to do. It really is.
Yeah.
There needs to be a different manner to do that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in order to do that, we have to change what the finances look like, because we want to secure people.
Yeah.
So then what ends up happening is that rep groups hire a rep from another group, and we're just recycling the same thing. So we need to be better at it, but it's got to start with the training. Give them a fighting chance. Give them a line package that gives them an ease of entry through the door. Give them a financial opportunity that allows them to take 30, 60, 90 days to comfortably digest. You know, at DM, we have 4,000 SKUs. And the first thing I tell a new rep is the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Okay? Take 25 items. and become an expert on those 25 items.
Yeah.
So that when you walk in the door, you sound intelligent, well-versed on those 25. As you're doing it, as you gain more confidence, as you gain more comfortable, you become more comfortable, the rest will start to come through osmosis. And the best part about customers is customers will also help train you.
Yeah.
It's true.
They'll say to you, one of my best products in that line is this widget.
Yeah.
You really, if you're not selling that widget, you should be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rep goes home and goes, oh, let me find out why this widget's so good. And they read about it and they look at it and they see the price and they go, oh, that is a good item. And next thing you know, they're selling that widget because a customer helped train them.
Yeah.
We can do it so much better.
Yeah. Something
Absolutely.
I think I've been thinking about, because I do come from the rep training side of it, is I'm in the process of creating like a whole kind of manual to give when we do onboard new people. But do you ever see down the road like the industry possibly coming together to create or not create, but at least have a standard of a training or how to onboard
As much as you
reps?
can.
Or
Yeah, I mean,
I know we're all independent businesses,
Right.
so it's tough.
I've been pushing for something like that, but there's so many levels of conflict. Okay, rep group against rep group,
Yeah, it's really
vendor
tough.
versus
Yeah.
vendor. Like nobody wants to give up the secret sauce, I think it's got to start at an individual level.
Yeah.
Okay, like if your rep group comes up with something like that, and suddenly you're the hot rep group because you have invested in a system and a program, and that's the one that younger people are going to want to work for.
Mhm.
Then others start to take notice and they go, hey, Delaney, what did you do there?
Yeah.
And then that's where it starts.
Yeah.
You have to show people the wins before you can start moving the lines,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, and the same thing at the vendor level.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta, DM is actively working on that. We developed a technology platform for all of our reps
Oh, nice.
that literally is building our reps a pipeline. So when a new rep starts, they're not walking in cold. They have a book of business to walk into that they can be confident in. They can see all of the orders that customer has placed
Oh, that's awesome.
without having to go, can you send me all this? It's all right there. So now that they can walk in and say, hey, I'm Richard, I'm your new rep for DM, and I notice here that you've been buying the Bear Claw back scratcher. They also have the Grizzly, and suddenly not only are you selling my line, but you're selling the other lines in your line package because you started a relationship the moment you walked through the door.
Yeah.
You didn't have to take 2 months, 3 months to build a relationship.
Yeah.
So we're trying to create a means for reps to make more money faster.
Nice.
And by doing so, it will be easier for you to hire reps and not have them A, drinking through a fire hose, and B, feel comfortable because they're making an income faster and they're more sustainable.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that take.
Yeah, I mean, we need more vendors doing that. We need to help you guys.
100%.
It's that age-old thing of like, Delaney and I talked about markets, and like the market centers shows wouldn't survive if it was just, one company in there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't draw the crowd. You wouldn't sustain your business.
No.
And it's, as much as we are all competitors, like you said, and it's like vendor versus vendor, rep group versus rep group, it's like to some level, we all have to be a community to keep this engine, running basically and keep it alive. It's just like, where's that cutoff, right?
Yeah.
So.
I used to, one of my rep principals always says, a rep showroom is like a mall.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to a mall and you have your anchor stores, right? Might be a Macy's, might be a JCPenney or some other large big box in trouble chain. And then you've got your, Claire's boutique and that type of thing in the middle of the mall. And DM is kind of an anchor store. So a lot of my rep groups used to put us at the back of the showroom. And I go, why, if I'm your number one line, why am I always in the back of the showroom? And they go, well, that draws people through. And I'm like, that's not my responsibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Put me in the front. That's why the anchors are on the ends. Okay. And that will draw people into the showroom. And once they did that, like they all started making more money. And it's the same thing. You got to treat that showroom like it's a mall.
Yep.
Put your anchors front and center so that people see what you've got. And they'll walk past that. They will. And if the reps are doing their job, they'll take them by the hand and walk them past that.
Yes.
Hey,
can I get you some lunch?
Right.
Can I get you a coffee?
It'd be like if at the mall, if every sales associate worked for every store.
Right.
And then the customers came in.
Yeah.
And then, so you go into Dillard's and you buy a dress, and then they're going to take you over to Claire's to get some accessories.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Think of it as concierge service.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even the airlines now, they'll meet you at the door, they'll take your bags, they'll get you checked in, they'll walk you to the gate.
Yeah.
You pay more for it, but
Yeah, and that's part of why I know Just Gotta Have It uses this terminology, but on our job board, we're using, instead of, it says /sales rep, but we're using brand concierge.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Very modern term.
Maybe it's time for a rebrand. I like that.
Rebrand of the sales rep.
Yeah.
Shout out, Just Gotta Have It for doing it first. So,
rebrand the term.
Yeah, but anything to get people more excited and buzzwordy. Like I've been saying, brand ambassador too. That's essentially for listeners who have maybe gotten Instagram DMs asking, hey, we really like your page. Here's our brand. Can we send you some samples? And then we'll give you a coupon code. That's essentially an almost a rep, but that's actually more of an MLM model. So repping is way more up your speed. So if you've been tempted to do those things, you might want to look into being a rep. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And as a rep, you could certainly do lives. Like if you're comfortable doing lives, you could certainly do lives with your customer base. You just got to fill your customer base first.
Yeah.
Build those relationships.
Use social media to your advantage as a rep.
Yeah.
So, nice.
So Richard, what do you think DM, because I feel like DM, you do things really well as a business. Like I see all the time on LinkedIn, you're celebrating your employees' anniversaries and new employees and this and that. What do you think DM is doing right that is helping you like keep your talent full, if you will, and get good talent?
It starts with culture. You got to make it someplace people want to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where it starts, and you need to honor those people that are there. It's people need to feel worthy and valued, and they need to feel appreciated.
Yeah.
So the more you can do that, the better the culture you create and provide, the more access you have to great employees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is DM fully in office, all of your employees, or?
So everyone's in the Chicagoland area.
Okay.
We have some people that work hybrid, which kind of started at COVID.
Yeah.
There's some jobs that are kind of essential, like it's hard to work from home when you're a warehouseman.
Yeah.
But there has been some flexibility. I'm really old school. Now, let me, for those at DM who watch this, I work from home on Fridays. Okay. I used to work from home 2 days a week. But really, because I travel a lot, the more days I get in the office, the better it is for me. But when I work from home, I get a lot accomplished because I don't have people at my door. I don't have my phone ringing off the hook. I don't have, there's so many other things happening, and I'm completely accessible because our systems allow that phone to ring directly through to me. But I'm kind of old school. I think the more people are in the office, the more they're contributing. I'm not talking about in work,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm talking about in valued opinions and, a chance to interact and that type of thing. I mean, we've got all the technology. We've got Teams, and we've got, obviously phone and all of that. So I can message anyone at a moment, and we can be collaborative.
Yeah.
But there's something about that face-to-face. And again, I'm an old guy. I mean, younger people are looking for those hybrid opportunities.
Mm-hmm. But they're also seeking connection, which I find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it is more so a draw to kind of go into the office, get some friends at the office at work. And then like once you have that established, and I think even in our industry, it's important as we talk about being relationship based, like we should be probably more face to face. And I know the reps specifically, I think, get the short end of the stick on that in a way. I agree, because the only time they're really in a collaborative setting is at market, and then they're so busy, there's no time to collaborate. So
I will at market. I oftentimes will take a group 5, 6, 7 reps out to dinner, that type of thing,
Oh, yeah.
just to bring people together.
Mhm.
I like those opportunities,
Yeah.
but
And can help them create their national family.
yeah,
As we've been
exactly.
talking about.
I mean, there's some, I really love what Reps Are Local 2 is
Yeah.
doing, because it is kind of building community for reps.
Absolutely.
Mhm, 100%.
And I have reps, like one of my Dallas reps says, oh, I talked to so-and-so who happened to be one of my Southeast reps,
Mhm.
and they're friends. They talk all the time now.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they've ever met face to face.
Wow.
Which is great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And they share tips and tricks. And I think it's amazing. The
Yeah.
more collaborative that people are,
I
the
agree.
more energized they get.
It's how the boutique hub says it: community over competition every single day.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
all about this industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Richard, this has been fantastic.
It's been great. I appreciate
And
it.
We'll finish up with our favorite question.
Okay.
What is your 100% most favorite part about working in this industry?
I'm going to say it's my friends. It's my friends. I have some amazing friendships in this industry. People that I don't know what I would do without at this point in my life. I
Aw.
love that. They're amazing. My community
Great.
is outstanding.
I love that you're
I
the
love
first
that.
person that's answered it as my friends.
Yeah.
Because even I think we both, in some
That's
capacity,
true.
said the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Referring to our friends.
Yeah,
But
Right.
I love that you said your
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
And just to be clear, like everyone that's your friend in this industry, you did not know any of them prior to having come into this.
No, not at
No.
all. And honestly, my friends range from early 20s to mid 70s. I mean, it's as vast as can be. I'm reaching a point where I'm kind of an elder statesman in this industry, which is, eek. So it's given me
I
a
think
chance.
it's a mentality thing, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's given me a chance to mentor a lot of younger people, even people that, I mean, I've got grown children, but people that are older than my children come to me for advice and that type of thing. It's nice to be able to take that 36 years and impart the things I've learned on others.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I've said this to you before. When I took over as president of GSMA, I sat down with my board at the first meeting and I go, look, here are your marching orders. You must leave this industry better than you found it, whatever that looks like, whether it's through act, deed, word,
Mhm.
it's got to be better.
Yeah.
And I try to the best of my ability to model that behavior day in and day out. So yeah, I care about this industry. I care about my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Likewise.
And as mentees of yours, we appreciate you very much. So
I
thank
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us.
And
Of
have a
course. Thanks for having me.
kick-ass conference, too. Let's have so much
So
fun.
looking forward to it. It's my last one as president, so I want it to be spectacular.
Well,
Woohoo.
we're honored to be here with you. So thank you for
Yay.
sharing.
Honored to have you guys.
Thanks, Richard.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woohoo. Yay! Curious about any of the opportunities discussed in this episode? Be sure to check out the industry job board at wholesaletalent.com. And thanks for listening to Beyond the Stockroom.